Hey all, here OS Reviews. You're watching our unboxing and first impressions look at the Blackview A20. This is a very low-cost Android Go smartphone. And if you're not familiar, Android Go is basically a lighter version of Android that's been optimized to run a little smoother on these low-cost devices that have about 1 gig of RAM and just a quad-core processor. So it's far from competing with a flagship level phone, but it's also a lot cheaper. This unlocked device can be found for around $60, and it has a pretty new 18:9 aspect ratio display as well. So taking a closer look at the packaging here, it's pretty simple. On the side, we just have some basic specs. It is a dual SIM phone. Otherwise, we see that we have a MediaTek quad-core 1.3 GHz processor. It claims to have a dual camera setup, but we'll have to see if that's true or not. Again, it's running on Android 8.1 Go edition, and there's a pretty large 3000 mAh capacity battery for a smaller phone, so it should last us quite a while as well, which is definitely a bonus. Now, Blackview is a Chinese manufacturer, and they have produced quite a few other kind of Android unlocked devices in the past. You can think of them as a competitor to Elephone and other brands like that. Other Android Go phones that are slowly coming to the market include versions by Nokia, such as the Nokia 1 Go Edition, among others by LG and Samsung, but they haven't hit the market yet, and that's why Blackview, I think, was the first Android Go device that you can officially pick up internationally, which is pretty interesting. So here's the phone right on top. Very simple packaging, again, since it's only selling for $60, so very low cost. We have just a instruction manual that tells you how to access it in various different languages here, printed in color. And in here we do have a charger, kind of interesting shape, reminds me of Huawei's charger, and there's a USB lead, and then just uses simply micro USB for charging up the phone. A quick look at the phone next. What's interesting is there's actually a pre-applied case, which is made out of TPU rubber. It actually has a nice texture as well. It reminds me a little bit of the sandstone that you get with the OnePlus case. So definitely very grippy and a nice extra for such a low-cost device. Now, this is by no means a super slim phone. In fact, it's on the bulkier side if we put it against, let's say, a flagship device on the side here. But again, it does have a pretty recent 2:1 aspect ratio screen, which means you have a wide angle experience that will adopt to the newer standard of video and apps moving forwards. On the side here, there's access to a volume rocker and a power switch. The phone does come in a few different colors, and we have this interesting kind of ice blue color, which is very unique, and there is a texture underneath the plastic as well, which makes it, again, easier to grip even without a case. Blackview logo on the bottom here along with the loudspeaker, so unfortunately it's not mounted on the front or on the side. And we do have that dual lens camera, but one of these lenses probably will be fake like many other Chinese phones. There's a bottom lip here that we can use to pry off the back cover, and that reveals the hybrid dual SIM slot where you can use either 2 SIMs or 1 SIM and a micro SD card to expand the built-in memory, which I would actually recommend just because there is very limited built-in storage. I believe only about 8 gigs built in. So if you want to install apps, you definitely need to try using your own card. There's a sticker that you need to peel off in order to access the contact points for the battery, so make sure you do that, otherwise the phone will not turn on. And this is just a quick initial boot. It just says, say, powered by Android Go edition, so technically Android 8.1, so a very up-to-date version of Android on a low-cost device. That is one of the benefits of a Go edition phone. It just says hi there, so the setup screen here again is pretty traditional. One thing that you will miss out on is a fingerprint scanner just because of the low cost. So you can use a pattern, PIN, or a password on the device. Hopefully we'll be able to launch into the experience very soon. So as we can see here, again, this is a very clean install of Android because Blackview haven't altered it in any way or form. It's clean, it's stock to what Google designed it as, which is, again, Android 8.1 Oreo, but lighter. So we do have a drag up notification shade for accessing our apps there. So this is the same gesture that we see in the Pixel phones, just because, again, it is very clean and stock to the Android experience. We have slightly different fonts and kind of folder textures, as well as kind of the apps are in Go edition. So YouTube Go edition, Gmail Go edition, Assistant Go edition, and Maps Go edition. We do have access to other things like a standard camera app. There is a clock, calendar, file manager on here as well. And if we go into settings, we can see that, again, some of the animations as well as the structure looks a little different. About phone. And we see that we have 5.3 gigs of storage that's free out of the box. About 2.6 gigs is used up. Definitely not a lot of storage, which is why you can also install, I believe, the Go edition of apps if you go into the store here. There's actually a few that's recommended. Again, Go edition, which will take up less space compared to the full versions of the apps. There is Wi-Fi, there is GPS and Bluetooth, but there's no NFC or wireless charging, kind of expected there. Before we end this video, a quick size comparison. We have the Kiko P11, which is another really low-cost phone. This one does have a 5.7-inch screen, and it's a little bit more expensive, about $10 more, but you can tell that the Blackview A20 is a little bit smaller. So the bezel sizes are really not that bad. In fact, they're relatively slim, I would say, on a low-cost phone. They've been reduced because of that 18:9 aspect ratio. Definitely not bezel-less, but still pretty good looking for a really entry-level phone. And here's a Xiaomi Note 5. It's the same size really as many of their current Redmi series phones, and it has a 6-inch panel compared to 5.5 inches, so you can tell that it is going to be considerably larger, but about the same in terms of thickness. So I'll be doing more testing and come out with a more complete video review soon, so be sure to stay tuned for that. We'll also be making a separate video that gives our more complete dive into Android Go Edition and what we think about the platform. But for now, that's just been our unboxing and first impressions look at this phone. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That's been the Blackview A20 unboxing.